What's up, guys? So today we're gonna do tactical videos. I was feeling like doing a little tactical videos. I've seen a couple conversation online, and I was like, why not covering this topic? One of our problems for new EC players or EC that plays a lot of game, we know that one of our tough thing is how do we kill tough units? And by tough units, I mean the -1 damage tough monsters right now that are really into the meta. So we have like the Catans, the Redemptors. The Redemptors are pretty popular right now with the Ultramarines and Space Marine, though -1 damage vehicles, 2 up saves, Armor of Contempt. We also have the Catans that are now a little bit nerfed, so I don't expect to see a lot of like lists with 4 or 5 Catans, but we'll still see 2 or 3 for sure, guarantee. Combined with rates most likely. So how do we kill those -1 damage monsters vehicles? We also have the good old toughness 12 monsters or toughness 11 that can be hard for us. The Great Unclean One, the Rogaldorn, the vehicles that you'll see at least 1 or 2 in most of Imperial Guard's lists. And now we have a resurgence of Nids with Norn Emissary. That are always tough to kill when they're on the objective with the OC-15, so hard to contest, hard to kill with 2 up, 4 up against mortal wounds, and then 5 up, feel no pain. And then we also have the tough infantry with -1 damage built in, which is Bulgrin and Dark Angels Terminators. So what I did today is I'll do like a top 5 of what I believe is the best data sheet that we have to deal with those units with pros and cons and what they're good at, and we're going to cover this, and at the end a little bit of like the what we should do during games. So let's start with number 5. Number 5 will be the Flawless Blade for me. So Flawless Blades, they just got 10 points reduction, 20 for 6. So that's a good reduction for us. They have high AP and a decent volume of attacks. They crit on 3s, 2 wounds versus higher toughness, so that's pretty good. So they're really good versus high toughness target with no damage reduction. So I really like them, for example, in a Rogaldorn with that extra AP. If you play Court of the Phoenician, they're AP 4. So even if he does his Armor of Contempt equivalent, it's still hard for the guard player to save a Rogaldorn. Pretty good into a Great Unclean One. Because the crits on 3s against his high toughness is still pretty good, and there's no damage reduction. They're decent into infantry like Bulgrin. Even though there's that -1 damage, they're still gonna have a lot of attacks to kill a bunch of Bulgrins, and then the attack back should not kill all your Flawless Blades. They're not ideal into high toughness with damage reduction, because then yes, you'll crit on 3s, but then let's say you charge a Nightbringer, for example, you'll crit on 3s, but you'll be damage 1 with that feel no pain. You won't do as much as you think into a Nightbringer, and then the Nightbringer will most likely kill a lot of your, unless you roll your 5 up, but even then you should lose half your squad right there. And the Nightbringer will have a couple damage on it, but not that much. So the biggest flaws for me for that unit, though, is that they can't go in a Rhino. So they're a little bit hard to deliver. But they're still pretty good. I know on the internet, Flawless Blade has a bad reputation because, like, one of the best, well, if not the best EC players in the world that's now playing Ultramarine, though, John, does not really like the Flawless Blade. So since day one, the community is not trying and giving them a chance. I've played them a lot, to be honest. I'm not as down on them as most AC players. My problem, though, is that they're hard to deliver, and sometimes they can fail you. And But I'm interested into trying them right now. I'm thinking about throwing around a list with double land raider into that new rapid evisceration list. Just to check, to test, to see if they can be good in there. Like you disembark 6, you charge, you kill whatever with reroll once to hit and wound, then you spend your CP, go back into your land raider. I'm not sure if it's going to be good. I have to test it. I really like also the idea of trying into the Necron matchup, trying the Land Raiders with the Lucius and the Flawless Blade. So we could plink damage with the Land Raider, shooting all your last cannon into one Catan, disembarking, charging with Lucius, and then 6 Flawless Blade. Lucius will be down to 2 damage each, but full reroll to hit and wounds because you're fighting a character unit. So, and then it's 2 damage each to try to finish him off. And then you can also, being in the Land Raider, disembarking means you can also grenade. You can also tank shock with the Land Raider. So that's something I want to explore. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, but I want to explore it. So we'll see. I'm building 2 Land Raiders at the moment. That will be easy. I got some upgrades, like 3D printed upgrades, to make sure the Land Raider will be nice. And then I just love the Flawless Blade models. So I wish I could make them work. So we'll see in that. Especially that detachment also means your Noise Marines will have reroll once to hit and wound without waiting on the coterie buff. So you can have it straight up at turn 1 if you need to. The only thing I don't like about that detachment is the stratagem are a little bit lacking, so they're not great, to be honest. I have 1 or 2 maybe that I'm interested into, so that's something we'll see if it's worth it to have not a lot of stratagem in exchange to have a very good detachment rules and can still spam like grenades, tank shock, smoke on the Land Raider. So we'll see if it's worth it or not. I'll test that in the next couple battle report. You'll see it. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 will be the famous package that we have in most of our list, the Lord Exaltant plus the Infractors. So number 4 is a package you'll have in every single list we have right now. And unfortunately for us, the Lord Exaltant is decent in all 3. He's not great, he's not like amazing, but he's decent. He's going to put up some damage in there. Like when he goes insane, he has 8 attacks and most detachment. Sometimes you might give him an extra attacks if you play another detachment with the enhancement that give him another attacks. But if you play the 2 main detachment that are Court of the Phoenician and, in my opinion, and Coterie, you can have 8 attacks. And Coterie is going to be AP 4, so even if you do Armor of Contempt, it's still very good because it goes down to AP 3. You have your lance, you have your full reroll to wound when you attack on objective. So in this case, you'll have a good chance of killing like a Redemptor, for example, because all your little guys too will be AP 2. So most Ultramarines players will be like, do I do Armor of Contempt or not? Because I'll still be at 3-up saves. You have lethal, you have 22 attacks, plus you have your Lord. So, and if you're well staged, you can also disembark, move, grenade on top of it if you're in a good position. So that could kill Redemptor for sure. For the high toughness infantry, you'll still eat a good chunk of it. And then in the attack back, hopefully it doesn't kill enough that you still contest the objective. So that's always a good play. You won't kill a full unit of Bulgrin with them, but if you kill 2 or 3, for example, then the attack back with AP 1 should be good enough for you to keep the objective if you go for a contesting play. And then if for example, you're in Coterie, you can also plan to have an Armor of Contempt for those Bulgrin. So that will make you your survivability way higher. Then you also have in the high toughness monsters with damage reduction like Catans, you can still grenade. And you can still have a bunch of attacks with AP2. So you put him on his invul save. yes, you won't kill it for sure, but if you go in committee, that unit will help for sure. So that's why I put it at number 4. Because on paper, the Flawless Blade seems like they hit a little bit harder, but you know that you're always going to have a Lord Exalted and Infractor in most of the lists. The only lists I've seen with no Lord Exalted and Infractor so far are the Rapid Restoration lists that I've seen a couple online. So that's something I might try, but it's such a good unit that it's hard to leave home without that unit. So that's my number 4. If we talk about also some good points about the number 4 Lord Exalted Infractors, the lethal, and in some detachment like Coterie, you can, in both detachment you can have full reroll to hit, so sometimes it's worth it for the lethal aspects. It's a little bit expensive in Court of the Phoenician because it's going to be 2 CP, but you can have full reroll to hit and wound if the Catan is not on the objective, so it's still an option you have there. 2 CPs is a little bit expensive, but sometimes you need it to finish off a Catan. For example, if you're lucky, you shoot at it with 2 Norse Marines unit, and for some reason you bring down to, let's say, 6-7 wounds, then you're like, okay, I really want to kill it, so I'll do the full roll to it and wound, even if he's not on objective. So you have a good chance there. Let's move on to number 3. So number 3 will be the good Winged Demon Prince. So Winged Demon Prince at number 3. I know some people will be like, oh my god, why is it number 3? It's like one of our best data sheet. But when you think about it, the Winged Demon Prince is not like a crazy killer on armor. The Winged Demon Prince, what's good at is when you're in Coterie, for example, and you reach your 5 points. This is crazy, and then if you're at 7, then it's even better. But the problem is getting at 7 points into those matchups. Maybe in guard you'll get there, but most guard now has like not a lot of units like it used to be, unless you play against like a recon. But then you don't have tanks to deal with. You just have like a billion bodies to deal with. So in this case, I would say that the Winged Demon Prince, the big strength is the mortal wounds on the charge. So it's kind of like having a second tank shock. So if you combine that with the Mauler Fiend, it's like better than a tank shock. So you have like your average of 5 mortal wounds on the charge plus the tank shock. Right there, it's a big chunk of a Catan that's dead. You're damage flat 3 versus flat 2 for the Flawless Blade and the Lord Exalted. Yes, you're just strength 8, but you're still damage flat 3, so every wounds that goes through high toughness with damage reduction will still be 2. You're really good versus damage reduction infantry, because on the charge you'll probably do 1 or 2 deads there before even swinging. On Bulgrin or the Terminators, you'll probably do 1.5 dead, and then after that you swing. And then with the Feel No Pain, you'll most likely be only doing 1 dead, but still you kill a bunch after. And then when they swing back, because you're higher toughness, it's good against Bulgrin. And against the Terminators, the Dark Angel Terminators, you should be still fine because you're 2 up, save 4 up with the damage 1 reduction. So you'll stay there for sure. If the best though is to combine 2 of them, so that's why in Coterie it's really strong. If you can combine 2 or even 3 if you really want to overkill, but that's going to be rare. But 2 of them at the same time will kill whatever you need to kill, because then you'll do on average 10 mortal wounds before you even swing, so that's pretty good. They're okay into high toughness with damage reduction. Like I said, they're decent into high toughness with no damage reduction, especially if you have low HP. For example, Redemptor, you have damage reduction on the Redemptor, but let's say Vindicator, for example, they're decent there because they'll still do their 5 mortal on average. Then you just need 2 attacks to go through. My little problems with them is they're AP2, so it's easy for the opponent, let's say in the Marine, to do Armor of Contempt, or in Votan, for example, when you charge like a a big land fortress, they'll have a bunch of wounds on them, so it's really hard to go through it because you're just strength 8. Yes, you'll do a bunch, a chunk of damage, but if you're not in coterie, even if you're AP3, it's still hard to go through it. So that's why they're only number 3 in my top 5 right now. Very good data sheet. I love that data sheet, but to kill armor, it's not the best. If we're in a meta where, let's say, Custodes come back, because we have that new box coming, so if everybody's jumping into Custodes without Land Raiders, then Winged Demon Prince is back on the menu. A lot of Winged Demon Prince back on the menu. Then let's go to number 2. Number 2 will be Daddy himself, Fulgrim. So I love Fulgrim. I told you in a couple of videos already. I'm a big fan of, as you can see, of Court of the Phoenician. Fulgrim is my boy. So I just love him. So things that are important about him that are good is IEP. So if you're in Court of the Phoenician, which I think is the best way to play him, because other than that, it's really hard to move through walls and stuff with him. You have the sustain with decent damage. Don't expect him to have like crazy damage though. It will happen a lot that you'll whiff, because he hits on 2s, he wounds on 3s, most of those big boys, and then the big boys have invul, and then you just have d6 plus 1. What I really like that's sneaky though is that poison there. The poison is a big thing. Like most of my game, I won't one-shot whatever I charge, but what will happen is that the poison will finish him off in like 1 or 2 turns later. And then if you can shoot 2 for poisons, that's also very sneaky. Like you'll finish him off later, you'll finish other stuff later. You're very fast and you have a big base, so you can block too with him. And then you have fight first. So fight first is a big thing as well. So if you don't finish off, if you don't finish what you charge, you still have fight first. And then if you tag something, then they need to fall back, or if not, you still have that -1 to it also. So you have to use that to your advantage. He's really easy to kill though when you commit him. Unless you're playing in a pure melee matchup, then it's you're in business, because then you have fight first, so it's really hard for them to deal with. But in a shooting match, as soon as your opponent has like a Vindicator or like a Executioner, then you have to watch out for sure. He's very good versus high toughness, damage reduction infantry like Bolgren and stuff like that. He's gonna go through it, especially if you can full revolt to it and wound if there's like a commissar in there. You're good versus monsters and vehicle with damage reduction, because you still have d6 plus 1 attacks. And then you're very good versus high toughness monsters and vehicles that has no damage reduction. For example, the Rogoldorn, your AP4 when you charge. So that's pretty good. Let's move on to our number 1. The big Mauler Fiend. So I'm sorry I couldn't find nice pictures of a Mauler Fiend EC, but it's still a Mauler Fiend there. So number 1's Mauler Fiend for me, because that thing is so cheap for what it does. You have 4 multi shots. You have 6 attacks at strength, very high strength. If you're in Court of Phoenician, you're AP3. That's the big difference with Mauler Fiend in Court versus Mauler Fiend into Coterie. Yes, later in the game in Coterie, they'll be crazy with those lethal sustain, but it's later in the game. So sometimes you need the action to happen right away. So in this case, with the Mauler Fiend, you have AP3 when you charge. You have access to tank shock. You're cheap, and you're good versus all 3 types. Basically, you're not like crazy versus all 3 types, but you're good. And for 130 points, it's a bargain for me. So that's why it's number 1 even before Big Daddy Fulgrim, because that 4 multi shots is very surprising too. When you advance and you shoot the 4 multi shots, most of my games 1 will go in, and then if that person fails that that's safe, then it's like a good chunk of damage right there, even before you charge. So that's very good for models at 130 points. So that's why I have 2 in my list, combined with Fulgrim. You always try to have 1 on reserve to go on the side that you need. You need a Mauler Fiend to deal with whatever he decides to put there. So I'm a big fan of the Mauler Fiend, and that's why today I put it in number 1 for best unit to deal with eye toughness unit or eye stuff to kill. So let's move to the conclusion. So in conclusion, what I want to talk about is how do we kill stuff, because like some armies will have like, just for example, world leaders or like demons, like you just send 1 unit and then you'll kill whatever you need to kill. With EC, there's not much that will do that, to be honest. Like they're all good, but they, like even Fulgrim, when he charge, most of the time I expect him to not kill whatever he's going to charge, and sometimes even does 0 damage. It's going to happen, and you have to have a plan in place to have multiple unit chunking chipping damage at the same time. You need to use your grenade, you need to use your tank shock, you need to use their speed too. So most of my game, like when I play against an opponent where he's very strong on one side with a very tough unit that's going to be hard to shift, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my whole army to the middle or to my expansion, or depending on how the game is going. You can shift your whole army in like 1 turn because we're so fast, and we can just ignore that unit too. That's another tactic that's very valid. Or you can put that unit in a position where they need to go off an objective in a corner to kill something, and then they're not scoring. So at the end of the game, you win if you have more points than your opponent, so you don't need to kill all the stuff. In one of my recent games, I'd even do 1 attack on that big fatty Rodigus. I didn't do 1 attack on him. I still won the game. Yes, it was close. Yes, it wasn't my best game there, but I just ignore him completely. Like I just fall back my Rhino, went in the middle, kill whatever needed to be killed. Sometimes it's just better to ignore those big boys, and if you have to deal with the big boys, then we need to have a committee of units. And what I love most of the time in Necrons, when I play Necrons, is going to be if I can set up a Mauler Fiend tank shock charge plus a Lord Exultant charge combined with 2 units of Noise Marines shooting into a Catan. Most of the time we'll kill Catan. It's not even guaranteed there, so maybe you'll leave it at 1. So you have to have a plan for that. What happens if I leave him at 1? Do I still contest? Can he kill both units at the same time? Most Catan cannot. Like they're OC4, and they can't kill 2 units. Like they can't kill a Mauler Fiend and your full unit plus your Lord. So if he has only 1 Catan objective, if I charge with both and he attacks, I don't kill him because I whiffed or whatever. I still have 4 OC there because my Mauler Fiend's still alive, and my Lord, for example, that's OC4 against his OC4, so I'm good. So you need to think about the points too. Sometimes it will happen that you'll whiff and you won't kill your target, so you have to make sure that you have a plan also to score. So for the future videos that I want to do, it's probably going to be deployment also. I want to do like each layout, like how to deploy like in a typical game with Court of the Phoenician. And then after that, maybe later I'll do Coterie as well. It's just that right now I'm really into Court of the Phoenician. And like I said, I'll also do some, maybe some battle report on rapid evisceration that I want to try. If I like my try, I'll probably post that also on the channel. So thanks for watching for today, guys, and then I'll see you in the next video.